Hello everybody, my name is Ilya.
And my name is Tyler. Together we make up Kovray, a couple that loves to play board games.
Especially two-player games like...
Tack. Tack is designed by Emily LaRoche. It's published by Zarua Games, who helped sponsor this video.
In Tack, you'll be driving sailboats. And you'll want to avoid the wind, or sometimes match it just right so you can score the most points. With that said, let's give you an overview of how the game is played. As always, you begin by setting up. You'll place the board at the center of the table and draw a win card for the top of the board. Each player will choose a color and roll all their dice, placing them randomly in their starting column. If now or at any time in the game all your dice are 3 or lower, you may choose one die and assign it any value from 4 to 6. Now continuing, optionally you can shuffle and deal 3 storm cards to the bottom of the board. These are abilities you can use throughout the game. Finally, you'll place each player's boat token at 0, choose a first player, and now ready to play. In Tack, your goal is to score 9 points before your opponent does. You'll do this by moving dice and creating values equal to the wind. On your turn, you'll choose to move one of your 5 dice. You can move any number of spaces forwards or backwards on the board, but you have to stay in the row your die is in. The only restriction is once you're on the board, you're unable to move back to the starting position off the board. Now at the end of your movement, you'll check if any of the column's die totals are higher than the value of the wind. If so, all dice in the column are returned back to the owners, re-rolled, and placed back in their respective row. If the value is equal to the wind, each player will receive a point per die in the column. Then the dice will be re-rolled, returned back to the columns in their respective positions. If all the values are lower, you'll simply continue playing, taking turns. Now you'll only have one win card per game, but these cards will vary game to game. Some provide calm conditions, while others feature weather that may manipulate your dice. And that's the game! You'll maneuver cleverly, blocking and setting yourself up for success, as when one player reaches the 9th point, they win. If a tie occurs, it's a draw, and you'll need to sail again.
And that's Tack.
That's Tack. Now what are some of the reasons that you should check out this game? Number 1.
It's a 2-player game.
It is a 2-player game. And the box is quite small.
Yes.
So it's pretty easy to carry around and show to other people.
Yeah, the head-to-head that happens in the game, and then like Ilya said, it's a 2-player game. Usually you are like traveling and looking for a good 2-player game, and this is right up that alley.
You might even play it on a sailboat.
Wow.
Unless the dice fall into the water, then you can't.
Or if it was really windy. Yeah.
Then it'd be perfect. The dice could shift by themselves. It's a variant.
Watch the game play itself.
Now another reason is you really evolve with the game.
Yes.
It's not quite on the level of chess, obviously, but it kind of gives that feeling where in the beginning, you think you know what you're doing. You're just like, okay, well, if Tyler has a 6, and I have a 3, we're going to try to coordinate it so we can get this 9, or I want to make sure he doesn't play his 6 to finish the 9. So it becomes really linear, but then you begin to see some of the strategy in the game, because all of a sudden, if you go in the row where his 6 is, you can completely block that 6 off. You can line up with the weather. You can use the storm cards. You can begin to see the different layers of strategy. And I think you can really grow with the game and learn that strategy.
Yeah, 100%. And then on top of that, you're obviously playing the player in these types of games too, where depending on who you're playing against, you've got to like adapt your strategy to that type of game. And like Ilya had kind of mentioned, is scoring 1 for 1 is not good. So you've got to figure out how to maybe get an edge, offer up what might be a better opportunity for them to maybe like grow yourself more points later on. It's about this give and take, and it's really interesting.
Tyler's distracted me quite a lot in this game and scored some points.
Hooray.
And last but not least, the game has a good amount of variability.
Yes.
So there's the win cards that obviously help you change the values game to game.
Yep.
But there's also the storm cards, which give you abilities. So you never quite know how you're gonna, what board you're gonna see, what the weather is gonna be here today. So you can really have to adapt with your sail and make sure it flows smoothly to get to that lighthouse.
Yeah, and you're only playing with 3 of those storm cards, so like it adapts. You have so many different combinations that can come out, and then the way that you end up playing the game also evolves. Obviously you don't have to play with them. I wouldn't recommend playing with them right away, but when you do get to them, it offers this unique little twist, but keeps the game really true to what it is.
And that's Tack. Now, of course, this is a prototype and the components are not final. If you want to learn more about the game, you can head over to that crowdfunding page in the link down below.
Yes.
And learn more about the glory of Tack. And for our question of the day, I have a good one.
Ooh.
If you had a sailboat, what would be the name of it?
What would be the name of my sailboat? Is it cheating to just call it Kovray?
No.
Yeah, I think that's what I would call it.
I think Barbara has a good ring to it.
Barbara does have a good ring to it.
But it has to be something like first before Barbara.
Saint Barbara Ann.
Saint Barbara Ann. That'd be
There we go. Yeah.
I wonder who she is. We'll find out.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for watching our video. If you found this helpful,
Give us that thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, because we make weekly board game content like this, covering games just as fun as this one.
we do love two-player games too.
Exactly.
So tell us about some of yours too, besides your sailboat.
Yeah. Bye!